Okay, now good morning, young people. Now we're starting the quest of working on spreadsheets. All right, let me get all of this clutter out of the way. Now this is the plan, not written in stone, but it's the plan about working with the various topics we have to cover. Want to cover basically everything as much as we possibly can with spreadsheets. All right, there's a lot of little hints and so on to put in there, so the information kind of build a foundation, so therefore it may take I'm hoping 10-15 minutes longest, but the minutes run by so quickly it's not funny. But I guess for those who are watching, 2 minutes might seem like forever, but it's the plan. The reason, let me make this clear, put this disclaimer in. The reason formatting is last when it would have been one of the first videos to be there, because I had really no intention of teaching this. It just, well, I was just coming to start this video now. I said, let me include it. Because the logical thinking for me is that this part here should be difficult for anybody. But what I say, put it in there just in case. If you're doing it, just do it. Alright, because I didn't intend to do formatting and merge and center and those kind of stuff, and alignment and different ways to set up the different values or labels and so on. So let me just get that done. Alright, so for the most part, this is what the plan is. So let's go to video number 1. Alright, simple functions. That's the main thing. So we're just jumping right off the bat. But of course, we're going to look at a few things before we look at functions, yeah? So let's get there now. So here is what we have. We have some persons here, and we have the age of these persons, and everybody's going to be in their 20s and so on. So I'll just populate that right away so we can get a good feel of what's happening here, and that's it. So, and the scores of the persons, let me say this person got 95, this person got 93, and we populate and put all of that in. All right, everybody, oops, no, that's not the intention. All right, then 71, then we have 99, then we have somebody get 100. So this is how we just enter the data, and that's it. Nothing complicated. So this is simple. All right, so this is what a simple spreadsheet look like. And if you notice, I already set these up. All right, class 1, class 2 for the videos that we're going to be having. As I said, just include one. So let me just put another one here, move this over here. So if you notice, I just click on the plus sign here. Some persons will have their setup already. I guess some persons just star here, depending on the version that you have. I'm working with version 2019 and so on. So there'll be some variations depending on the version that you're using. Sorry, some frogs jumping around in my throat. All right. So depending on the version that you're using. So you want a new sheet, just click on the plus sign here or a star, get another sheet in. So let me remove this one though, because I don't need it. So I click delete. So sheet 1. I'm going to double click on it, the tab, and call this class 6, class 7. Class 7. And of course, I'm going to change the color. So I can right click on it. See, it's normal, regular gray color. So I can just right click on it, select tab color, and what should I put it to be now? Let's say yellow. Do I have any yellows here? Yeah, that's fine. Right, so this is the last one. So the classes are going to be set up, so I know that this is video 1. I just have it in one spreadsheet. All right, so I'll tell you why this came to me a little bit later. All right, there's a noisy vehicle passing by. Give me a second. All right, so while we're looking at this, so that's a little bit of a thing that does come, by the way. Maybe we'll have a few of these, but I'm trying to keep within my time limits. I really don't want to make the videos too long. If it's too long, persons are going to get bored, don't want to watch it. So I'm trying to stay within a 15-minute time frame. All right, let's get cracking. Now, the first thing we need to pay attention to is this. All right, these up here are called labels. If we don't have them, then all of this data don't make any sense. Yeah, so if we don't have these, then it's even worse. What do these represent? What do these numbers represent? No one knows. All right, so we have the labels so that it gives meaning to the numerical values. So we can say that these right here are ages and these here are scores. This is the data for Mr. Lawrence. This is the data for Mr. Simpson and Mrs. Finch and Miss Gerard. All right. So we can pick that up right away. While I'm doing this, I hope you're picking up something. That spreadsheets read two ways. Either they read vertically with the columns, or they read horizontally with the rows. All right. Those are the two ways in which you read spreadsheets. Horizontally, going across the rows, and vertically with the columns. Those are the two ways you read spreadsheets. Right here again, these are the ages for all the persons entered in this spreadsheet. And these are the scores. For Miss Peterson, her age is 27 and her score is 98. We can pick that up right away. So those are two ways we read spreadsheets. Hence, when we're writing formulas, why we do what we do, we write them in the context of vertical or horizontal. And while we're at it, let me do this. I like to start off with this little exercise for my students and so on while we're at it. So let me start off right there as well. Let us just say why we do what we do. All right? Because there's a principle that person needs to understand here. All right? And I got 15 again and 10. I always do this for my students. And let's just get at it right now. If I'm going to add these numbers, I can say simply here equal A1. A1 meaning the cell address where the 15 is located. It's in column A and row 1. Every cell has a unique location, a unique address, a unique reference. So what are you going to call it? Cell reference, cell address, doesn't matter, they're the same thing. We use cell addresses when we're writing formula or functions. It is more efficient that way. All right. And let's say we say plus, and then we say here A10, or sorry, A2. So we're adding A1 and A2. All right. Press enter. Now you realize something else. That sometimes when you look at a cell and you see numbers, it does not necessarily mean that there's a number in the cell. Sometimes it's a formula in the cell. Straight. You can see up here in the formula bar, A1 plus A2. Up here in the formula bar is equal A1 plus A2. All right. And then now let us say we have over here equal 15 plus 10. All right. And let's say for some reason we decide that we want to make an adjustment here. Oh, granny, I realize that I did not mean to put 10. I mean to put, let us say, 100. I put 100 here. This cell automatically updated. When I put 100 over here, this one didn't budge. Why? This says equal 15 plus 10. No matter where in the world you are, what's happening on the spreadsheet, 15 plus 10 is always going to be 25. However, this cell said equal A1 plus A2. So in other words, add the contents of cell A1 to the contents of cell A2. Therefore, as soon as any one of these contents change, this cell or the formula automatically updated. Full stop. That's where it is. That's how that works. So this is why we use cell addresses. And remember, a cell is denoted by the column label first, then by the row label or so on, which is D5. So this intersection right here, you can see it highlights D. D looks different from all the others, as well as 5. And you can look at the address window up here, you see D5 as well, where we are located. So the main focus is, however, we will use cell addresses when we're writing formula or functions. And yes, there is a difference between formula and functions. All right. So let's get into this now. We're going to discuss that a little bit down the road. But right now, the main purpose of this video is to teach you about functions first. Hence, why we're looking at these functions, these basic functions that we will write in the spreadsheet. All right, cool. Now let's get back to work. If we want to add all of these, all right, use a simple formula that says this: equal sum. Sum is the function that tells the computer to add. All right, then we start at our range. We're adding the ages, so we start at B2. You realize that the B2 comes up in blue, and there's a blue highlight around the cell. All right, then you have colon, and then you specify the ending cell range of the cell range, which is B10. All right, and then you close the bracket. So the computer is telling you that, guess what? Sum, I'm going to sum B2 through to B10. So the colon means 2. So add everything from B2 right to B10. The colon means 2. Press enter, you get 227. All right, that's that. That's where that is. Okay, cool. Then now, what if you decide that, you know what, you don't want to sum them, you just want to average? All you can do with the function, just change this to average, not AVG, but average. And now you get the average age. So what happened is the computer added all these 9 ages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, added them, and then divide by 9. And the average age is 25.22. If you want the lowest age, the function min would give you the lowest age. And the lowest age listed there is 20. If I change the answer, for example, let's say a teenager came in the class. We add them in an exception. Miss Hendricks. Mrs. Hendricks, no. I can't put her as a teenager. Married at 19? No. Let's use somebody else. Let us say Miss Peterson. Yeah. Let's just give him at 16. He's very brilliant. Just give him at 16. Alright. Now it updated. So the lowest age, min is 16. Right? The reverse is true for max. Alright. If we go here and we simply change it to max, now we get the highest age displayed, and the highest age is 29. So this is how the functions work. If you realize the function, the computer knows how to carry out this process. You don't have to add, multiply, subtract, divide. If you're using a function and you write something like this, for example, I hate it when my students do this. It kind of shows that you're a novice. Let's say you're adding, right? You put equal sum and then you do this. Don't do it. You're coming in like a sin. Equal B2 plus B3 plus B4 plus B5. Guys, don't do that. Don't do that. That's like saying, we want to reverse back way. You can't reverse front way and so forth. That don't make any sense. You're actually just repeating yourself. You're creating spreadsheet sin, blasphemy. The function simply, you don't need to use any symbols most of the time. Simply B2 equals sum B2 plus B10. That's it. You don't need to put any mathematical operators in there. By using the word sum, the computer knows that, guess what? I am going to be adding these. That's what the sum function is all about. Alright. Now let us do something else. You get a feel of that, right? Now, what if we want to simply, well, these are ages, so it's going to be kind of challenging to say, you want to add someone age to their scores. Alright. But you know what? Let me just do this. Alright, let's put score 1 here. Alright, and then I'll put score 2. Alright, score 2. Alright, and we're going to use some of these numbers still. Alright, let me just copy this and paste this over here. But we want to kind of mix this around a bit. So I'm going to do a little bit of thing here that you should not do. Alright. Maybe I set a bad example by even doing it and then tell you not to do it. Sort from no, continue with this selection. I just want to sort this that alone. Alright, so we have some different numbers for everybody now. Good. So here's what we have. We have 2 scores. What if we now wanted to add across? Simple. We can now say equal sum, open bracket, and now we at C3 for Vaslov, colon D4. D3, sorry. All right. And now we're adding the scores for Mrs. Vaslov. This is why we said that we read spreadsheet two ways. You want to add the scores or average them. Notice if I put AVG here, I get an error. It's asking me, do you want to accept the confirmation? My version 2019 asked me to change it, equal average. Some versions might not give you that opportunity. You simply get an error. I'll just tap yes, accept the change. And the average for Mr. Vaslov is this. Here's another reason I prefer for you to write your formulas yourself. When you write your formulas, you know exactly what you're doing. If you simply go here, for example, let's say you want to average or add up Mr. Williams' scores and go equal sum. Oh yeah, that works, and press enter, done. 85 plus 93 is not 199. The computer added the person's age in it. So you have to pay attention to these things. That's why I don't take shortcuts when I'm teaching. I'm showing you some of the things you can do, but I leave that to you and your comfort zone, because learning takes discipline. If you don't have the discipline, young people, want to take shortcuts while you're just learning something, you're going to hurt yourself, right? You have to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how to do it. If you can't answer those three questions or solve those three parameters, it didn't make sense, you know. You have to know what to do, why you're doing it, how to do it. That is what computers require of you. Because then if you know those three, you're going to know when to apply it. All right? Okay. So I have to answer those questions. All right? Now, that's basically what that is. Now, the different functions work accordingly. They all work basically the same way. If you want to count the amount of scores entered here, you can put equal count, open brackets, C2 colon C10, and that counts the number of cells in the range which contain numbers, or the amount of numbers in the range. If you delete, let's say delete just that one, you get 8. If you delete another, you get 7. Right? That's just how the count function works. But there's something to pay attention to with count A. If I put an A here, count A. Count A gives me 7 the same way. But if I put a space here, so just a space, let me tap the space bar. Make you even hear it, to tap the space bar, it counts that. If you put a comma there, it will count that too. Count A counts everything. If you put a word here as, let me put another, so let me not do that. Let me change this, let me delete that, for example. You get 8. But if I put, let's say is, it counts that as well. Count A counts everything. Now let me delete these. I know I'm going fast, but you can rewind the video. Alright, or backward search, whichever one you want to call it. Alright, let's go to this one now. Count blank. Count blank, open brackets, C2 colon C10. Alright, oops, wow, I'm committing sin there, so blasphemy in spreadsheet. I even forgot my equal sign. Alright, 3. Why you get 3? Because there are 3 empty cells. If I delete something else, it counts that too. And notice even this one updating as well. So the formula will update accordingly. That is how count blank works. So we do it sum, count, max, min, average, count blank. Now let's look at adjacent ranges and non-adjacent ranges, because this one provides a little bit of a trick for students. What do I mean by adjacent? Adjacent means right next to it. One range right next to another range. And non-adjacent means basically a range that is not immediately next to the other range. All right. So, because remember, we want to keep this video short. So, forgive me, you can put a question in description if you want to. I'll try to respond to them. Some ice cream person passing by right now. All right, let me just undo all of this and put the numbers back in. All right. So, what we're talking about adjacent range, what are we talking about? That ice cream man, please just shut up with that horn. All right. So, I might have to I don't want to put this video up, but I'll take it down sometime in the summer, I guess, and do another one properly without the background noise. He's gone now, but I'll just do another one. All right. Adjacent range. Let us say I want to find the average of score 1 and score 2. How would I write that? Here is how I do it. Equal average. I specify again the starting cell address. So C2, open brackets, C2, colon, and I want to end down here now at D10. So I put D10. If you realize the computer basically highlighted the two ranges, we have C2 to C10 as well as D2 to D10. Just highlights everything and it's the average for every score for the both scores combined. All right, so everybody's score added together and then divide by the amount of scores. I guess it's divided by about 18 since there are 9 scores. If for the changes, for example, let's just put C10 here. So I put C10, you get a different answer. See? All right. No, not a different answer. So it's the same answer because it's the same numbers, really. But let me just change a number here, over here. So at least it kind of throws it out a little bit. Let's say 97. All right. So at least there's should be some variation there. So it's equal average, open bracket C2 colon C9. C10, sorry. C10. Close the bracket. That's it. That's 90.5. All right. And if I pull this across, 92. All right. But look what happens now when I put the two of them together. All right. When I say equal average, let me put this a little bit down here. Equal average, open bracket C2 colon D10. Get a different answer than the two above, 91.6. What the computer did was to add all 18 numbers and divide by 18. So that is how that works. So this is an example of adjacent ranges, and it works. If it works vertically, it can also work horizontally. Remember, the two ways in which you write functions, you read through a spreadsheet is vertically and horizontally. All right, let's do something here. Let us say we want to work with Mrs. Vaslov and Mrs. Finch. We want to count the amount of scores they had. So let's say equal count, open brackets, my mouse misbehaving here, open brackets, Ms. Vaslov is at C3 colon D3. Now I put a comma this time because I want to include Mrs. Finch as well. So now I go to C, Ms. Finch is in row 7, C7, and then colon D7. This is interesting. C7 colon D7. My mistake there. All right. Saying one thing, I'm putting in something else. All right. So if you see the two ranges highlighted, this is what we call non-adjacent ranges. All right. So that's basically how it goes. All right. So you can press enter and now you get 4. If I were to delete any one of these, you get 3. If I delete something from Miss Finch, see, still working. All right. So that's basically how it goes. That's writing basic formula and functions. Did I cover all of them I want to cover? Yes. The same principle applies to one, applies to all of these functions. And there may be a few that we could look at, yes, and so on. But in an effort to make sure that we stay within the time frame, and I strongly believe that probably I'm up to 20 minutes right now, well exceeded my time limit. That is what it is, guys. So hope you have fun with that. Try it out. It's not something you have to learn one time. Practice it, go through it, make sure you understand it. For my grade 11s, it's simply a refresher. For my grade 10s, they probably did some spreadsheets in grade 8. You know, but for persons who are just learning, feel free to watch videos over and over. That's basically how you use the formula and the functions. Some, when you're adding numbers, counting the amount of numbers. So you're not adding them, you're simply counting them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Max displays the highest number, min the lowest number, average. You're finding the mean. You're calculating the mean, MEAN. You know, central tendencies, like you have mean, mode, median. You're calculating the mean, adding them up, and then divide the total by the amount of numbers you added. Count is similar to count, but while count counts numbers alone, count counts everything, even spaces. Count blank counts the amount of cells which are blank. All right, adjacent ranges means ranges, cells. A range is a group of cells that are right next to each other, or a group of cells that are right next to each other. Non-adjacent, as we did in the last lot, basically a range, non-adjacent range, group of cells that are not immediately next to each other. All right, and that's it. All right, guys, have a good one. Take care.